So before the episode begins, me and Rhea would like to talk a little bit about breast cancer because we are talking about it in this episode. So just some research, basic information for you guys. And yeah, let's just jump right into it.
So what is breast cancer? Breast cancer starts in the cells of the breast and then eventually develops into a tumor that can spread into nearby tissues. It can also spread to other parts of your body as well. According to the Canadian Cancer Society, it is estimated that about 1 in 8 Canadian women will develop breast cancer during their lifetime, and 1 in 36 women will die from it. Family history, genetic mutations such as the BRCA1 and BRCA2 gene, and hormone exposure can increase your risk of developing breast cancer.
There you go, guys. Those are some basic information about breast cancer, and I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We had so much fun recording with Brandy. It was such an honor. And yeah, any final words, Rhea?
I just think a big thank you to Brandy. Both Sophie and I are very touched and very emotional. Well, I am after recording this episode. So I hope you guys really show all your love and support your Brandy and Abreast In A Boat.
Yeah, and I hope you guys enjoy the first episode of the reinstallment and season 2 of the Daffodil Diaries.
Yay!
Enjoy! Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Daffodil Diaries podcast with the SFU Canadian Cancer Society. I'm one of your co-hosts, Sophie Manio, and also a marketing co-lead of the club. And I'm co-hosting this episode. You can't see her, but
with Rhea, I'm one of the co-chairs this year.
Yes, mostly hacked.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, again, sorry, I'm in your space.
Welcome back to season 2, the reinstallment of the Daffodil Diaries podcast for the SFU Canadian Cancer Society, where we share stories from cancer survivors, spread awareness about cancer, and our club. We are starting off with our new season with a very special guest, and it is in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Even though it's November, we would still love to honor Breast Cancer Awareness Month because it's very important. And without further ado, let's introduce our special guest.
Oh my goodness.
Her name is Brandy.
Hello. My name is Brandy Pieters. I am the current president of Abreast In A Boat. We are an organization of dragon boaters that started here in Vancouver 30 years ago, and we consist of 6 different crews. So we have 5 race crews as well as 1 leisurely crew that meets, and yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for being here. It is such an honor. And we've never actually had any guests outside of, I guess, we've only had uni students.
Yeah.
So it is such an honor to have you take your time to be with us today. I'm going to briefly go over what Abreast In A Boat is, first of all, because it is such a cool thing. I personally do dragon boating. I did dragon boating in high school.
Oh, that's so
nice.
I have heard of your team. I've seen you guys paddle. You guys are awesome and so cute. I love it so much. And I love
You can't miss us. We're always decked out in pink somehow.
Abreast In A Boat is the world's first breast cancer dragon boat team.
They are.
And they're actually celebrating their 30th anniversary this year.
So big.
Yes.
So congratulations.
Thank you. Our 30th season. It's fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so their team was founded in 1996 at UBC, beginning as part of a groundbreaking research study done by Dr. Don McKenzie. So he actually launched a medical study to determine if exercise could prevent, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced this, lymphedema.
Lymphedema.
Okay,
yes.
awesome. Yeah, so this is a condition that can occur after breast cancer surgery. The original 24-member crew competed in the 1996 Vancouver International Dragon Boat Festival, and they defied medical myths that discouraged physical activity after breast cancer surgery. None of the women developed lymphedema, and the experience actually inspired confidence and a global movement for survivors. So very, very amazing. Today, Abreast In A Boat has, like you said, 6 local teams across general Is that right? 6 local teams?
6 local teams, 6 local crews. Yeah. So we consider ourselves one team with 6 different crews.
It's
so
like
we're
subdivisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Across Greater Vancouver, and has inspired 380
crazy.
breast cancer dragon boat teams in 40 countries.
Wow.
So awesome. And members have competed internationally in New Zealand, Italy, South Africa, Malaysia, and more. That's really amazing.
And they're heading to France next year.
So
Absolutely. Yeah. We have a crew that's heading to France. So very exciting.
Wow, that's so cool.
So congratulations, that's awesome. And now I'm going to go over some 2025 events. So their 30th season celebration, they hosted a breast cancer paddlers division at the 2025 Concord Pacific Dragon Boat Festival in Vancouver of June in this year, where 33 breast cancer teams from around the world competed to honor those with and those lost to breast cancer. And also, I think this is posted 5 days before this.
Okay.
But on November 15th, you guys are hosting a Fraser View Banquet Hall in Vancouver, which is an evening that will have a dinner, entertainment, special guests, and also a silent auction.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all the proceeds support Abreast In A Boat's mission to empower, connect, and inspire breast cancer survivors through dragon boating.
Do you want to kind of talk about the gala a little more?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. So with our, sort of the economic climate that we have right now, I think it's very difficult to find sponsors. So because we're a registered charity, it's getting more difficult to find sponsors. There's so many different charities that are out there that people support, and breast cancer and breast cancer awareness and those types of charities have been around for a really long time, and it's sometimes it's hard to compete for that sponsorship. So this is the first year that we're actually having to do some fundraising.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we're hoping that it's going to be successful. We're going to try it out, see how it goes. We definitely have lots of fun things and lots of really great prizes. We have a European Viking cruise that's worth over $10,000.
Wow.
We've got some like a weekend stay at Quadra Island that I think is valued at about $5,000.
Wow.
So we've got some very, very cool things, and we would love to have anybody who's interested to come out. You can either buy tickets on Eventbrite, and the event is Pearls of Hope. Because the pearl is sort of the symbol for 30 years. It's kind of like that 30th anniversary type thing is a pearl. So we kind of sort of tapped into that.
That's
this
really
year.
cute, actually.
Yeah, we tapped into that in that it's our 30th year. So yeah, it would be great to have people come out and support us and support the work that we do for people that are coming out of treatment that don't necessarily want to go to a regular support group. Yeah. Something different.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. And when this is posted, it'll be 5 days before the event. So do you think people can still get tickets before?
I think we will have some tickets left. Absolutely. Yeah. For sure.
So we're encouraging all of you listening to go.
Yeah, sounds like lots of fun.
Yeah.
Overall, Abreast In A Boat demonstrates that people diagnosed with breast cancer can lead full, active, and healthy lives. And through support and community, the organization continues to challenge old misconceptions and spread a message of strength and hope worldwide. Very, very beautiful. And I'm so happy that we have things like this for breast cancer.
Especially women.
Yes.
Having a platform for women, period.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you ever watch them in the water competing, it's awesome. We love to see it. We love to see it.
Baddies in the water.
Everyone feels very powerful.
Oh, yeah.
No, as you guys should.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for more information, they have a website, so feel free to check it out anytime, and we'll link it in our description.
Perfect.
All right, so there we go. That is a rundown of Abreast In A Boat. Now we're going to transition into more about you and your story. When and how did you find out you had breast cancer?
Yeah, so I think, my story starts extremely early, into my early years. So my aunt was diagnosed with breast cancer. I think I was around 12 years old. And at that time, didn't really realize, didn't really understand what was going on. And then through the years and through, talking with family and friends and really started to understand what that meant. And my aunt always made sure that, the girls within the family knew that they should be checking themselves, doing their self-exams early on, because she was 36 when she was diagnosed.
So young.
And throughout her process, she found out that she had the BRCA gene.
Oh.
So again, just telling us constantly, make sure you're checking yourself. And for me, it was me and my husband. We was just us sitting at home one night. And because it's just the two of us, I would often just throw my arm over the chair and do self-exams, on the couch. And that's when I found the lump. And honestly, it was, everyone says, when you find that lump, don't panic. But because I think of our family history, I think it was very obvious to me. It was just one of those okay, here we go. We know what this is. We know what we're dealing with. So that was how I found out.
Oh, wow. It's kind of hard not to freak out when the more it's just the more anxious you are. And that's
Absolutely. And I tried to keep it to myself. I kept it to myself for the night and didn't really say anything and panicked silently until the next morning. And then, had a conversation with my husband. I'm like, I think I found a lump. This is super scary. And, the tears and things. And, and anytime anybody finds a lump, whether it be a friend or family member, it's all, you always you never know what it is, right? It's not always that. And you make sure you have those conversations that it can be anything. There's a multiple of things that it could be. But for me, I just in the pit of my stomach, I knew exactly what I was dealing with when I found it.
And even your aunt telling you guys make sure you're on it. There's no amount of preparation that helps you deal with that situation.
No.
There's no amount at all. It's still scary. It's still very anxiety inducing.
It's very anxiety inducing, absolutely. And you have no idea where you're going and what the treatment is going to be and that kind of thing. And I think, people, especially women, when you think of breast cancer, you think also of, losing your hair and, it's visibly noticeable that you have cancer. And, it seems so insignificant, right? When you sit back and think about it, it seems so insignificant. It's hair, right? But it does. It's a part of who we are. And, you think about all those different things. Am I going to die? Am I going to be able to do this? How bad is it? Am I only going to have a certain period of time? So our minds really get away from us, right?
Start to spiral.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's very hard not to. It's very hard not to. I think, finding someone that you can, confide in and have a real conversation and have them be open to you, just spewing it all, all of your worries and fears, and then just be there for support. I think that makes a huge difference as you're waiting for that information, whether it's good or bad or whatever.
You need to let all of that out.
Yeah,
you're gonna go crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Following that morning, what kind of was your journey after that?
Yeah. So, making an appointment with the doctor and, then, for me, having a biopsy to determine whether or not, it was cancerous, whether the lump I had found was cancerous or whether it was just a cyst. And I can remember sitting in the radiologist office at Jim Pattison Center in Surrey. And I had gone in for my biopsy and we had done a mammogram and, sitting and waiting, and I could hear the nurse talking with the radiologist. And, I heard the words, but she's only 38. And everything in you just drops, right? This is real. Even though in the bottom of your heart, you knew that it was real, it very much becomes real at that point. So I had to go back in for another mammogram right away. And then they told me that they would be in touch as soon as the radiologist had the chance to take a look at the imagery and things. And once they got the information from the biopsy. So I don't think it was very long. It was days, I think, after that my family doctor called me and, sort of let me know and, go into her office. It was so funny. My husband was playing he had a baseball tournament that weekend, right? And he's like, I need to come with you. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Like, I will go on my own. You go to baseball. Like, I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, right? Like, I didn't think that I needed any help or support at that point. So it was like, no, let's just, status quo. You go play baseball. I'm going to go do what I'm doing. And, went into my family doctor's office, and they give you that like horrific, it's formal now. Like, it is.
It's confirmed.
It's confirmed. It is real. You have cancer. And I think it's such a blow to the system, right? I can remember just breaking down in tears and trying to hold it together and walking myself out to the front of the office to make a follow-up appointment to give them all of my information. And the office is full of people and you're in tears and they don't know what's going on, right? And just sitting in my car and just sobbing. And, not like having to pull yourself together in order to, drive yourself home, which was not the best, not the best thing to do. Definitely should have taken my husband with me. And then, so from that point, telling your family and, it's really hard telling your friends, right? And of course, everybody is scared. It's the C word is a scary word, right? So, and not really knowing sort of where you're at, like how far along is it? How big is it, right? So I think at the end, you've got more questions than you do answers at that point. Yeah. Like, okay, so yes, you have cancer, but what about? And you have to wait for all of that to come. So, after that, I had made an appointment with a surgeon at the Jim Pattison Center and went in and talked to him. And originally, because I was so young and it was quite small, like it was under a centimeter, it was small, having a conversation with him. And he's like, okay, we're just going to do a lumpectomy. And this is around the time when, shortly thereafter of when Angelina Jolie had come out. And because she had the BRCA gene in her family, she had gone through and done the prophylactic double mastectomy. And, that I think had always kind of played in the back of my mind, like, okay, like that's not so scary. Like if people in the public eye and they're making this known that this is an option, right? And it's helping reduce, future diagnosis. Like, I think that's, and with my aunt having the BRCA gene, I think that's, in my head, that was what I was going to do. Like, I was going to advocate for myself to do that, right? I did not want any chance of it coming back. I wanted to eradicate it out of my body. So, having a conversation with the surgeon and just telling him, he's like, okay, we're going to do a lumpectomy. And I said, well, wait a second. My aunt has the BRCA gene. And he stopped dead in his tracks and he's like, okay, we're playing a whole other game now. He's like, do you want the 5-year plan or do you want the 50-year plan? And I want the 50-year plan. I want the 50-year plan. 5 years is just not enough. I want that 50-year plan. So at that point, we decided that we were going to go ahead with the double mastectomy. And that's what I did. So, I did that. And, it takes a while to sort of recover from that because I did immediate reconstruction. So they inserted expanders, which I'm not sure if you're aware of what expanders are, but it's almost like a balloon that they puts a saline solution in once a week or once every 2 weeks just to expand the skin and so that they can eventually swap that out and put implants in. So you can feel more, more normal. Some people, want that feeling of being normal and, having that sort of femininity, I guess, about them. And others are like, you know what? No, I don't want another thing in my body. And it's really, it all boils down to personal choice. And either way is totally fine. And we need to, that needs to be embraced around. But yeah, for me, it was the thing that I needed at the time. I needed to feel a sense of normalcy as much as possible. So, went through that, and they do the expansion to the point where it can no longer, like, you're at that point where it's okay, like, this is where we're at. This is as much as we can do. And through all of that, get the pathology report. And it was a stage 1, I think I was stage 1, grade 3. So a grade 3 is more aggressive. It's a more aggressive type of cancer. So at that point, the oncologist was like, okay, we need, we're doing chemotherapy. Yeah. So, and then of course, biggest fear, I'm going to lose my hair, right? Which it's funny to me how we gravitate towards that, right? Mm-hmm. So I only had 4 rounds of chemotherapy. I was lucky, mine was small, so I only had to do 4 rounds. Not saying that 4 rounds is easy.
No,
it's not, right? It's not an easy thing. Some people have a really hard time with it, some people, it doesn't bother them as much. Yeah. But I did 4 rounds. And then they also gave me the option of doing radiation. So 25 sessions of radiation. And I opted for that just because I wanted, for me, I wanted to know that I had done everything in my power to make sure that it didn't come back. Nothing is guaranteed, but I just didn't want, later down the road for it to come back and for me to, I didn't do what I needed, or I didn't do what I felt I should do, And again, that all boils down to personal choice. Some people don't want it, and that's totally fine. And everybody's situation is completely different. My breast cancer is different than somebody else's, and what might work for me might not work for another person, right? It's all very personalized, I guess. So I did that. And then, so I was diagnosed in June of 2013. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, I think it was February 4th of 2014 is when they released me from care. Mm-hmm. Right? So, okay, I'm released. And you went into my car, and again, just tears, right? Like, I can't believe I've just done all of this, right? It's been 8 months or so of this is your job. Your job is now to go through treatment, and your job is to do all of these different things. So, it's definitely a shock to the system, once it's over. And then once it's over, what now? Mm-hmm. What next? Mm-hmm. Once it's done, I think the general population, or anybody that hasn't necessarily been through it, you're done, you're cured, you're good. Okay, you're on your way back to life, normal life, everyday things. And unfortunately, that's not the case. Most women, most cancer survivors in general, that's not the end, right? Getting back to normal life is really hard, and trying to figure out, there's always that term, your new normal. What is your new normal? And it's different for everybody. And I think a lot of people come out really confused, and then you really start to feel the emotions, right? And I know a lot of people, ask the question, why me? Why was it me? How did I get it? Why did I have to go through this? So there's a lot of mental conflict, and, your mental health really takes a toll during that time for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And it takes a while to sort of get back to back to that sense of normal, and I was lucky. I didn't have to work during that time. My employer was very, very, very good to me. I was extremely lucky, but even so, I found that I didn't take enough time for my mental health. I was worried that if I don't go back to work right away, am I going to lose my job? Right? And there are a lot of people I know that are out there where they don't get that the kind of support that I got financially, and they don't have a choice. They have to go back. So they're not dealing with the mental health issues that I think they need, or they don't get the support that they need, because they just have to get back and they have to put food on the table. And, lots of single mothers, I know lots of single mothers on our cruise that they didn't have a choice. They had to go back and didn't have that time to really heal and land on 2 feet, right? So for me, I kind of wandered a bit. I had gone to a support group and it wasn't for me. It's great. You say it works for some people, but it wasn't for me. I did not want to sit around and ask, why did this happen? I knew why it happened. Mm-hmm. I knew, even though I hadn't had my genetic testing done yet, right? Like I knew that it runs in the family. We've lost a number of family members. Like it runs in the family. So I didn't want to necessarily sit in I didn't want to feel sorry for myself.
Yeah, like that pity.
I didn't want to pity myself. I didn't want to feel sorry for myself. So, okay, what do I do? Where do I go from here? So it was probably a year and a half. And I had gone back to work, and I was working this festival. I was actually working the Victoria Dragon Boat Festival. Mm-hmm. I was volunteering there for a customer. And I saw this group of women, and they were marching down to the water to get on the boat. They were going to load the boat, and they had pink vests on, and there was just this joy about them, and I couldn't take my eyes off of them. And I actually had to tell my colleague, I'm like, you know what? I have to go see what this is. Yeah. Like, I need to follow them. So I followed them down to the dock, and I watched them load into the boat, and I watched them paddle out to the start line, and then watch the full race, and then come back in. And it was just so amazing to me, right? I had never heard of this before. I think I had seen dragon boating on the news a couple different times, right? Knew nothing of this sport. So I thought, oh, well, that's really cool. And I couldn't get my mind off of it. So this was, I think, in August of 2015. And so I started doing a little bit of research. And lo and behold, so I live in Langley. And there is a dragon boat, a breast cancer dragon boat team based out of Fort Langley.
Oh, awesome.
So reached out to them and just, had a few questions, asked them a few questions, and said that I was interested. And they were fantastic. They answered all of my questions. They made sure to reach out to me during, over the fall, because our season ends in the middle of July, typically. We have a relatively short season, so they kept in touch with me and reached out and said, hey, we're having this novice meeting for anybody who's, interested in the sport to come and learn a little bit more. And, we'd love to have you come out. So, okay, I'm going to go and check this out. And it was so funny. I remember walking in, and my co-coach now, the lady that I coach with on the Fortitude team, I can remember her just being the warmest person and just embracing, like, we're so happy you're here, and we can't wait for you to join the team. And I thought, well, there's no way I'm getting out of this now.
Yeah.
I know I'm standing there, and they're holding up jerseys to me, and okay, so I'm in. I don't know what I'm in for, but I'm in, And yeah, so that was the end of the year. And then, season started to ramp up, and we got on the water in March. And I remember my first year thinking, it's funny. We typically do 3 regattas in a year. So regattas, are the races, the big races. And we had decent weather through our practices. So we practiced a couple days a week, and we had some great practices. And then we got to our regattas, and every single regatta we went to, it rained.
Vancouver.
Poured rain. It was miserable. And I can remember waking up one morning, because you have to be at the regatta nice and bright and early. And I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's pouring rain, and I'm thinking, what am I doing? This is ridiculous. I am not doing this anymore.
This is the first and last one.
Yeah, I'm over this. And my teammates just kept saying, wait until this one regatta. So Nanaimo, the Nanaimo Dragon Boat Festival, it's changed a little bit over the past few years, but it was always that hub for the breast cancer community. And it was they hosted, it used to be such a great evening or a great weekend. And everyone said, just wait until that weekend. Just wait. So went to that festival, and the most moving thing, it was my first flower ceremony, my first real flower ceremony. And it was I was hooked. That was it. I'm coming back. Right. And it was that support, just feeling other people holding you up and, letting you have your emotions. And it's a really, really moving thing to see the flower ceremony. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it in the first year. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. Sorry. I'm so stunned to speak. Wow. It's so inspiring how you took your experience, took the power away from your diagnosis, and turned it into something no, I'm not going to sit here, pity myself. This is not who I am. I'm going to go out and do something more for myself. And, I think that's so inspiring. And I feel so many people struggle with that, but you were able to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's so inspiring. And you're that Angelina Jolie for other people. And so to me, that's incredible.
Like Rhea said, you took everything and you put your energy into making something out of yourself and finding that community. And even like you said, you tried a support group, but that didn't work.
Yeah.
But then you found this Dragon Boat team, and that's where you truly found yourself. And that's really inspiring.
Yeah. So it's, it's funny. I was speaking with one of our novices just the other night, and we were talking about it's the community you never knew that you needed until you found it.
Yes.
Right? It's not something that you would go and search for. But it just happens to come upon you, and it finds a lot of people at the right moment. And you talk to a lot of breast cancer paddlers, and they're, a lot of the stories are very similar. I bumped into you, or I saw, your pink PFDs, and there was something about it that just drew me to you. Or I saw you years before my diagnosis. And then after I was diagnosed, I made sure to reach out to you. So, yeah, it's definitely a really amazing community.
Yeah, I was going to actually say that too. It's what is meant for you will find you. And that position was always yours. That position on that team was always yours.
Yeah.
And so despite the circumstances, the journey getting there, there's, again, it's a good example of there's always light at the end of the tunnel. That was your calling, and having that community of women.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really now we want to know about your position, which is president of the Breast Boat.
So I paddled for 3 years, and then an opportunity came up on our boat to coach. And I'm kind of going to go into that coaching a little bit before I go into president, if that's cool. Yeah. So opportunity came up to coach, and I thought, okay, you know what? I have leadership qualities. I can probably, I can do this. I know the fake it till you make it stuff, right? Like I can figure that out. So, and, I thought, okay, well, yeah, absolutely. So with some mentoring of our previous coach, she gave us, all of her practice plans and things and you try and make it your own. So I think the first time getting up on the boat was super daunting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're trying to stand up at the front of the boat, which in and itself is a task. There's a trick to it, right? And so then, I just started coaching and started taking some coaching courses. We have a lot of coaching development opportunities. Our Abreast In A Boat provides the coaches with a lot of development opportunities, which is fantastic. And coached for a couple of years and realized that I really have been given a gift in that, because I get to see the impact of our team from a completely different perspective, right? Where I sat the first time, like from that first moment that I sat in the boat to where I currently am, to see that transition unfold in front of your eyes with other people it really has been a gift. It's really been a gift. I can't even emphasize how much, how grateful I am for it. Our novices, a lot of these women have never done a team sport in their life. They've never played a sport. They are not, a lot of them come to you and say, I am not athletic. Like, I barely walk, right? A block. So they don't think that they can do it. And they get in that boat the first time. Often, many of them are scared about, how am I going to get in the boat? I don't know how to get in the boat. To the transformation that you see over the course of our very short season, which is only 3 months, can be absolutely miraculous. You have this intimidated woman who does not have the confidence in themselves. Their body, often in their minds, has betrayed them, right? My body has tried to, it's tried to fight me, and I'm trying to now take control, and I'm doing something completely out of my comfort zone, and I don't know if I can do this. And the confidence that grows in those 3 very short months, it's unbelievable. And you see the women that come out of it after the 3 months, and it's a totally different person. It's a totally different person. I'll tell you the story about one paddler, and when I first met her, I thought very conservative, right? Very conservative woman. She was shy. She didn't say a lot. She wasn't very confident in herself. And I remember as we were getting closer to the end of the season, so when everyone comes up the dock at the end, I always make sure to have that sort of one-on-one with every single paddler, because you have 24, sometimes when we're practicing, we have 24 people in the boat, right? So just to have that one-on-one interaction with every single paddler on the boat every time we practice. And I can remember we had done some practice races on the water, and she came up the dock, and there's this conservative woman who, she's shy, and she comes up and she lets out this beastly growl from this practice race, I did it. I felt so powerful. And my heart just melted, right? Because she was that timid woman at the beginning. Yeah. And look at her now. She's, she is an athlete.
Yeah.
And she has confidence, and she knows she can do it, and she feels powerful. And that to me is so amazing. So amazing. The difference just 3 short months can make in women who have gone through probably the hardest time in their life, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's sort of my coaching. That's the coaching piece to it. And then, you know, on Abreast in a Boat, because we are a charity, right? It's expected that everyone across the whole team, so 200 plus members, that you volunteer in some way. You give back to the organization in some way. So for me, it was, you know, coaching was sort of that first thing. And then the position for vice president had come up on the board. And I thought, okay, well, you know, I have some information, like, you know, I have some skills, like I don't know if I can do it, but you know what, I'll just throw my hat in the ring and see what happens. And that's kind of how it all came about to get on the board. So in the current position, so like you start out as vice president. It's a 3-year term. So you start as vice president for a year, then you move to president for a year, and then to past president. So next year I'll be past president and just there supporting new people that come onto the board. And it's really to keep ideas fresh and to keep us evolving, keeping us relevant and up with the times. And that's why we don't hold our positions for long. And you also want to give other people the opportunity to get in and to share what talents they have with the organization, because we all bring something to the table. And we want not only people to have, or the women to have confidence on the boat, but also to have confidence in what they can contribute to the organization. Yeah, so that's how I got to where I am.
So inspiring.
Oh my gosh. Full circle that it's your last year as president and you got to share your story.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
And I believe you said you started in 2015.
I started in 2016.
2016. It's been almost 10 years. So
yeah. Next season will be my 10th season.
Wow.
I think you did a really good job in highlighting how dragon boating isn't just the physical aspect of rowing through the water, finishing first place, whatever. There's also that whole mental side and the empowerment of it. And the whole stance, the whole reason why your team was made in the beginning was to prove that women with breast cancer can do things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it just shows through that story.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, you know, you listen to our originals, and so we call our originals the very first team. So anyone that was on that very first team, first 24 women, they're our beloved originals, right? We value them. And you listen to some of them when they talk about, you know, what it was like prior to this. And one of our originals, Carol, she often says, you know, we weren't allowed to vacuum. Like that sort of repetitive movement was frowned upon at that time, let alone do, you know, any number of sports and, you know, any sort of physical activity. So thankfully for Dr. Dawn, who thought, you know what, exercise is medicine, right? And really embracing that exercise is medicine mentality. Just went to disprove the whole thing. And I don't really think he understood sort of what he started, right? Like what started out as a scientific experiment, if you will, grew into something so much more.
Yes.
So much more. Not only is exercise medicine, it's great for it's amazing. You know, it's been proven to be excellent for your mental health, right? Moving your body is good for your mental health. And the camaraderie that's come out of this. Yeah. And, you know, when you see, even at Concord Pacific Dragon Boat Festival this year, when we hosted our, you know, the 28 teams from around the world, plus our own cruise, the camaraderie, there's that knowing that happens between, it doesn't matter if you know a person or not, you connect on a completely different level than anybody else because you feel them, you know their story.
I was going to say you're like going beyond those language barriers, those culture barriers. And like, yes, you can have a support system from your friends and your family, but it's the other women who have gone through a journey similar to yours that really, really get you.
Yeah.
So I think that also comes out of that community as well.
Yeah.
It's crazy that you can like take women from around the world and like you guys are just connected already.
Yeah.
Just based off of your story.
Yeah.
I think that's really crazy and amazing.
Yeah.
Like what we read earlier from your website, like you guys are now global.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like growing, right? Yeah, we're growing. We're still doing outreach and, going to countries that don't have anything like this and introducing them, or areas that don't have dragon boating, or have this kind of system for women. We are, we're going out there and spreading the message and, teaching different communities how to run a team, how to dragon boat, right? How to coach properly, all of those things. So it's amazing. We have an outreach committee, and Dr. Don, he's actually part of that. He goes, he goes out and he does outreach with the committee, and also with the support of the Jane Frost Foundation. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Jane Frost Foundation, but so Jane Frost was one of the originals, and once the original season kind of ended, she was sort of that catalyst to like, this is special. Like, we cannot let this go. She was the force behind really what it's become. Dr. Don, he had the idea and he's been the support, and he is continuously helping the communities. But Jane Frost, she was a powerhouse, right? She wanted to spread the word, and she wanted this to be so much more than it had originally that they thought it would be, right? Yeah.
Women are awesome.
Yeah, it's always women. Women's always behind the success.
Yeah, so that is how you became president. That's been your experience.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. It's really empowering.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So with it being almost 10 years now being part of the team, how has, besides being a part of this community, how has your lifestyle changed or kind of been impacted after your journey?
Yeah, I think you gain a completely different perspective after cancer, right? Things that may have been important prior to are no longer important. They're no longer a priority, right? Taking care of yourself definitely becomes a priority, whether that be through physical activity, just basic self-care stuff, right? Making sure that you're not too busy and trying to alleviate stress as much as possible. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Right? Like, is this in the grand scheme of things, is this really worth it? And I think, through the process, you find who your tribe is, like who your friends and family are, right? And what is important, and who supports you, and who has your back all of the time. I think that becomes very evident, and those people, you hold them really, really, really close, and don't let them go, right?
Yeah, you kind of see them in a different light as well.
Yeah, you see them in a different light. You see yourself in a different light.
Yeah.
Like I said, your priorities totally change, right? Like, what was important before is just
whatever.
It's it's just not important, right?
No, that makes total sense. It's like, because when you're going through an experience like how you did, it's like all of those trivial things didn't matter.
Yeah.
It does not matter. You shouldn't compromise your health. And I feel like so many, especially adults, they kind of find it hard to like deal with their stress, and they're just always go, go, go. I know my mom's like that. And it's just like, no, your health comes first. Because at the end of the day, none of the things you're worried about matter if you're not doing well yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Like, when people are not taking care of themselves, I think you really sort of lean into that and try and help them out with that. You want the people around you to also take care of themselves. And if you have to go to a doctor, go to a doctor. Right? Like,
don't be stubborn.
Yeah, exactly. Like shying away from something is not going to make it better.
No.
It's just going to make it worse. So, do the things. Take care of yourself. You know, spend quality time with your friends and family. And, you know, the fancy things they just don't matter anymore. Yeah, right?
I think that's really important. And like, something a lot of people fail to miss. Like once we get caught up in our everyday lives, like you're just thinking about everything, but at the end of it, like you come first, the people around you come first. And that's where your priority should lie.
Yeah. So don't take your health for granted.
Don't take your health for granted.
Yeah.
It can change in an instant, right?
Really
Life can change in an instant. And, you know, I often say, like, I can walk out on the street and get hit by a bus tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow's
like,
not guaranteed.
Tomorrow is not guaranteed, right? So do the things that are important. Do them today. Don't put them off.
And with the right people by you, you will be able to complete those things. And I feel like through your journey specifically, I feel like you've shown that the impossible is possible. And like you being like, oh, like what is this team? But you went out there and you're part of the team and you're like, okay, how about coaching? I don't know about coaching, but you went and did coaching and now you're president. And it's just like, you were met with uncertainty and anxiety, but you still did it. And that, I think you're like living proof of like, you made the impossible possible. And I feel like, you know, giving yourself a chance because you never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never know. You might like it.
Yeah,
you might like that something different and daunting.
It's a great challenge.
Yeah.
And like, look how much it has been a part of your life now, how important it is.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Yep, exactly.
Another question that we wanted to address was, is there any misconceptions that people may have about life after cancer?
I guess, you know, and I think I kind of, you know, talked about this a little bit before in that, you know, once you kind of get that all clear, that everything is okay, right? And often I find, you know, we push those feelings and emotions down and we don't really deal with them. And I think it's important to deal with them and to not let them fester over a number of years. I know even for myself, right? Like I went back into the real world and just shoved all the feelings and all the emotions and everything down. And it's only recently that it's like, okay, you know what? Like this is not okay anymore. As much as I've done different things and, you know, got involved with you know, this amazing community, there was still that, you push your feelings down. And I think it's important that we deal with them, right? And I think it's easier maybe to deal with them sooner rather than later, whether it be finding a good therapist or, you know, whatever it may be, just to talk it out and to talk it through, right? Because often we're not okay. We're not okay. We may look normal, our hair grows back and we, you know, but not everybody is okay, right? It's a lot to deal with when you're faced with something that could be, you know, could be deadly. That's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to have, you know, it's a big load to bear, right? And I think talking through that with someone is really important so that you can be the healthiest person for yourself, for your family, for your friends, right? So I think that would probably be the biggest misconception that's out there. Okay, so now you're done treatment. You're good. You're good. You're good to go. And it's not necessarily the truth, right?
And I agree. I feel like when it comes to cancer awareness, even like from our club, I think we're so fixated on the physical appearance, the treatment, all of that, but we don't really take time to focus in on the psychological aspects behind it at all. Like, when do you ever hear someone talk about like the repercussions after your journey? Well, that's still a part of your journey. You're still going through it because it's still a part of you. It's such a big thing. And we kind of we're like, whatever, like they're fine, they're alive, but it's like, no, they're still dealing with it.
Yeah. And I think, you know, as far as our medical system goes, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of work to be done there.
A lot.
Right?
Yes.
You know, we deal with, like you said, the physical aspects of cancer and, you know, making sure that we get it out of the body and making sure that we're doing the things that it doesn't come back. But I think the medical system hasn't quite caught up to the fact that we need to support these people, men, women, no matter what, anyone who's been through this type of diagnosis, they need some additional support.
They do.
Right? To get them back on track.
It's like really like hard to like try to find that new normal. It's like their whole life has like done like a 180, and it's like, okay, well, what do I do now? Like,
Yeah.
your whole lifestyle changes after that.
Absolutely.
So it's scary. It's the whole entire, from like your diagnosis to going through treatment to being cancer free. It's still just to keep on adjusting, and it's scary. So you want to grapple onto something that's normal a bit.
Yeah.
So I think having a safe space for you to do that, and like you said, going to therapy, like you said, the support group didn't help you, but being a part of this team did. And so I think don't sell yourself short with like the help you need. So maybe if you don't connect with a certain therapist, try out another resource, try out another therapist.
Absolutely.
It's just a bunch of trial and error, I think, as well.
Yeah, I can remember, wishing for the day. Like I would say it was probably 2 years. It took me at least 2 years to go a whole day without thinking about cancer. Yeah. Right? Like it was on my mind every single day, and learning how to deal with that and learning like some strategies of how to deal with that would have been beneficial. And I think, even though someone looks normal on the outside, or looks like they're well, or they're healing, they might not be. Right?
You never know a person's story at all.
and it's hard to, and that's exactly it, right? You never know a person's story. And, we always say be kind, right? Because you never know what someone is going through. And I think it's very true.
Yeah.
Right? Because people can have a lot on their mind.
Yeah.
And some people bounce back. Some people, but I think the majority of people that I know, or that I have been in contact with, that hasn't been the case.
Yeah.
It's few and far between that people just bounce right back. There are some people that can, but I think the majority of people do struggle a bit with that after the fact.
Because no matter what happens after, it's still something that happened to you. It's still something that weighs on you every day.
You don't want it to let it define you, because I know so a lot of people struggle with, but it doesn't, my diagnosis doesn't define me, doesn't present who I am. It's a part of me, but it doesn't make me up
And
who
I've heard that quite a bit. Like, I don't want cancer to define me.
Yeah.
And, no, you don't want it to define you, but it is still it's a part of your story. It's a part of your journey, and making sure that you're dealing with that in a healthy way is important.
So to close off, we'd like to give you the room to give any advice to survivors, people with cancer survivors in their lives, people dealing with cancer. What advice would you give them?
Oh man, that's a big one. That is a big one, and that is tough, because everyone sort of needs something different. And I think for people that know somebody that have been through this, I would say check in, right? Check in and listen. Listen. Sometimes just letting a person talk is really important. You don't have to offer them advice. You don't have to respond, but just listening, I think, is really important. And I think another thing, if you know someone who had cancer or is going through cancer, maybe not offering advice, right? A lot of people, I read this thing and, on the internet, and this is what you should be doing, it's just like trying to tell a parent how to parent, right? Everyone does it different, and everyone goes through it the same way. I think just listening is really important. For anyone who's been through it, just making sure that you're taking care of yourself, right? Do the things to take care of yourself. Be physically active. Dr. Don, he was actually just had an article in the Globe and Mail just this week about physical activity and how important it is in helping reduce reoccurrence and reduce the chances of getting some of these diseases, right? And how important it is for our mental health. So, be physically active, and we can tell all the things. Eat. But really, at the end of the day, it's if something doesn't feel right, get it checked. Right? You know your body best. Advocate for yourself, right? Had I not advocated for myself, they would have done a lumpectomy. Advocate for yourself. If you know something doesn't feel right, then say something and be insistent. If you are struggling mentally, advocate for yourself. Find a support system, or find some sort of place, an outlet. If you've had breast cancer, come out and join us. We do novice paddles all the time, right? Abreast in a Boat is probably one of the only sort of aftercare movements that are out there that, we don't sit around and talk about having cancer all the time. Yeah. But if we're having a struggle or something is off and we need to ask questions, you have a whole group of people there. And everyone has gone through something slightly different. So someone somewhere within the group has dealt with what you're dealing with. So, there's always people there to guide you and to help you. And come out, have fun. It's a load of fun. It is a load of fun. And, the reason that we do our charity auction, for example, or our charity gala, is that we do try to reduce the barrier to entry, in that we try and pay for as much of the cost to drag and boat, your regattas, your gear, all of that. We try and reduce that cost significantly. So that's why it's so important that, that we get the support that we get. Because if we don't, then we can't help that person just coming out of treatment. And we want to help as many people as we can. We're hoping that we will move from 6 crews to 7 crews, right? We're hoping that we will be able to start up an additional crew, and that will be a whole other group of women that we can help and that we can guide through this journey, right? Meet people that you probably never would have met before and find a whole different community.
I was going to say fundraising, we fundraise for preventative measures, to implement health policies for treatments, but we also want to fundraise to take care of the people who have been through their journey as well. And I think that's really important. And I think Abreast in a Boat does an clearly amazing job at doing that as well. Yeah,
it's definitely different. You've got the CIBC Run for the Cure that's all about prevention and awareness, and they do an amazing job with that, for research. And without that research, a lot of things like the BRCA gene, for example, right, might never have been discovered, right? So there's lots of groundbreaking research that the Run for the Cure is doing. Inspire Health, they do a lot for the community as well. So when you're going through treatment, they help with nutritionists and they have a bunch of different programs. So, anyone can reach out to Inspire Health. And then Abreast in a Boat for our breast cancer survivors that, we are that aftercare, right? We provide something that no other group provides. They're another group that started out because of Abreast in a Boat, because of the breast cancer drag and boat movement, is Butts in a Boat. So they're all about prostate cancer. They paddle out of False Creek, and they are an organization that started up because of Abreast in a Boat. Wow. So the movement is growing, and it's growing in different areas. It's not only growing as a breast cancer community, but it is starting to grow as a cancer community in general, which I think is fantastic.
I think that's amazing too, because there's so many different types of cancer that people deal with on the daily. So it's amazing that one can inspire the rest of the community.
Absolutely. And we support each other, right? We support each other whenever, the Butts in a Boat need help. We have people that can jump into their boats, and
that's so cute.
Yeah.
I was going to also add one thing. Sorry. I also find it really amazing that I know it's such a struggle as you get older, is finding a community and then also getting into a sport when you're older as well. And I feel like
this community tackles so many of those barriers as women in our society.
Yeah. You know what? Like we range from, we actually had a paddler on one of our crews this year who was in her early 20s, to in their 80s.
Wow.
So we have 3 originals.
Oh my gosh.
Who still paddle to this day. Yeah, who still paddle to this day. They get in that boat and they paddle to this day. So it's, it's an age range. It is a big age range. And, we're there to support the women, the younger women. Unfortunately, we see the age at which people are developing breast cancer. It's getting younger and younger and younger, right? It seems like more younger women are starting to develop breast cancer. Typically, women wouldn't get it until their 50s, right? And now, like for myself, I was 38. This, 20, early 20s, right? I've had women on our team in their 30s and like early 40s. So, and then I've got, on my crew, I think she's, I don't know, I want to say she's 72. Hopefully she doesn't hear this and said she was older than she is. But like, honest to goodness, this woman is like a force. Wow. Like she's so active. She's on Abreast In A Boat. She does outrigger canoeing on a team. She rides 40 kilometers a day. Like she is a force to be reckoned with, right?
Yeah.
And like when I grow up, I want to be her.
Me too. That's goals.
Yeah, exactly. I want to be her when I grow up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, same. I want to be you when I grow up. Like you're amazing yourself.
Amazing. With that being said, and everything you just talked about with the amazing message that your team brings, what message do you have for the women that you've worked with and have paddled with and for the organization as a whole?
Oh, man.
Sorry, it's a big question.
Another big question. My goodness. No, I think thank you. Mm-hmm. I think thank you is probably the best thing that I can say to them, right? For the opportunity to find something completely new, the thing that I didn't know that I needed, for showing me a new way of life, a new way of living, introducing me to a whole new group of people that I might not have ever known. And specifically this year with all of the things that have gone on, our 30th regatta and the upcoming gala, thank you for the support and supporting the board and jumping in and helping when needed, right? Mm-hmm. And just thank you for being part of the organization and making it such an amazing place to be.
So amazing.
Trying not to cry.
And I'd also, from myself, I'd like to just thank you guys for all that you do. Oh. So awesome. All the way back to Dr. Don.
Dr. Don. Yeah.
Thank you to Dr. Don, because he started something, an experiment, and look how big it's become.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reflecting on the conversation, there was a point that you made way earlier that I wanted to touch on, which is when you get diagnosed with breast cancer, it's not just like the physical aspect, but there's this, like you said, a double mastectomy. It's a lot of choice and a lot of personalized decisions that you make for yourself as a woman. Like, do I want to keep my breasts? Do I not want to? What do people in my life have to say about that? It's a lot of your decisions. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so important to talk about because it's all about you and your body and
Yeah, absolutely. What's right for one person is not going to be right for another person. Mm-hmm. And nobody else can tell you what to do with your body, right? You have to feel that it is the right thing for you to do. Mm-hmm. And don't let anybody sway you, right? It's definitely it's your choice. And your body isn't the same, right? It's not going to be the same. It's different. It's a different version of what you were. And it takes time. Be patient with yourself. It takes time to get used to. And I think, that first moment of taking off bandages is always it's a very difficult moment specifically for women, right? Not taking away from anyone else by any means. But yeah, it's part of, it's part of that femininity, and it's definitely it's a tough pill to swallow, right? It's a tough pill to swallow. And quite often, specifically with women with the BRCA gene, and not only, but, also comes the not opportunity, but the choice of also having your ovaries removed, right? And that comes with its own set of emotions and things that go with that, specifically if you wanted children and maybe you didn't get to have children, and and if you have the BRCA gene, do you want to pass that on to your children, right? That was my situation, right? Like my husband and I, we wanted kids. We wanted kids really badly, but it just wasn't in the cards for us. It wasn't, that wasn't our path. Our path is something different. And it's heartbreaking, right? Like, I think that's definitely a heartbreaking thing. And a lot of women do deal with that, specifically if they're younger, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I want to make sure that I'm not going to, this is not going to show up in other places. And so you do the things in order to take care of that. And, when you have the BRCA gene, it's like a 50% chance that you're going to pass that on to your children. And it took me a really long time and I don't even think I'm really 100% okay with it yet. And it's been like, I was diagnosed 12 years ago, just over 12 years ago. But it gets easier, right? It gets easier, and it pops up in moments where it gets difficult, but I don't know where I was going with that. But.
No, that makes sense. It's like you're grieving a situation. Doesn't mean you're going to get over it.
Yeah.
It just gets easier over time.
Yeah.
And you will reflect on it, and you will have times where you're back in that feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just gets easier to deal with. Some days harder than others.
Some days harder than others, for sure.
I was going to touch upon your decision to not have children. I feel like there's so many factors going into cancer, like ovarian cancer, breast cancer. It's like I'm losing a part of my femininity, like you said, and like having to make those difficult decisions to not have children, like that is so hard. I feel like it's so taboo to like even talk about. It's like, oh, well, you should have children or whatever. Those are the expectations.
I think that's the expectations of being a woman, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, or an expectation of life. You grow up, you go to school, you get a job, you get married, you have children.
Circle of life, yeah.
And then you have, grandchildren, and that's, but life doesn't have to be that way. No. Life can be good in other ways, right? Mm-hmm. It can be difficult at times.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But you just have to live with your decisions. Yeah. Right?
You're the one who's living your life, nobody else.
Exactly.
So it's none of their business. But I wanted to say thank you for being so vulnerable. I know that's something that's not easy to talk about, especially with strangers. But
I think, you know what, it's not, some of these things aren't easy to talk about, but I think we need to talk about them.
We do, yes.
We need to talk about them, and we need to talk about things that follow. Mm-hmm. And I think as a society, we're getting better at talking about hard situations, but we still have a long ways to go.
Long way. We're just getting started.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I think, being open and honest and being able to have those conversations, it might help somebody else, right? And it, might help somebody else feel better about how they're feeling and how they're thinking. So, if it helps one person, then that's
all that matters.
All that matters, yeah.
And I'm sure you're going to help many, many people.
Yeah.
By sharing your story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think just tying everything together, everything that we've just talked about, just shows how complex cancer is and how multidimensional it is and how much parts of your life it really does affect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, thank you for sharing everything.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you is not enough to express our gratitude.
And thank you for Abreast In A Boat for doing what they do. And all the amazing things that they've been able to accomplish.
Yeah,
appreciate
it's a lot has happened in 30 years, and hopefully we'll be here for another 30 years,
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
and still helping women and helping to grow the community.
And again, just another reminder, their gala is coming up, so make sure to look into that.
Yeah, November 15th at Fraser View Banquet Hall in Vancouver, and starts at, I believe it's 5:30. Lots of great prizes, lots of silent auction items. Going to be extremely exciting. If you want tickets, you can find them on Eventbrite under Pearls of Hope.
Beautiful. Thank you guys for listening to this episode, our first reinstallment of the Daffodil Diaries podcast. Yeah, take care of yourselves. Resources will be below. You can check out the website as well. We'll leave that all in the description. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. Take care of yourselves. Rhea, any final words?
I think Sophie's got it covered.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.